Don't get me started.
Don't get me started. Oh, shut your mouth.
Touchdown! Buccaneers. Hopefully.
Every time.
I love it. It's not even an NFL show. I'm not doing that show anymore. Now I can't stop saying it. Here we are once again for the 11th time. I can add now, Jeremy, because I know last week was 10. 10
And
plus
that's
1
maths,
is 11.
Yeah.
That's maths. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 11th episode of Covidio Killed the Radio Star. I'm Alex. Never really tell people that I am Alex, but I am.
That's right.
And
You just
that's
need to
Jeremy.
kind of point down and it tells you who you are.
My name is here.
And then to point to me, you need to point the opposite direction to the you just pointed.
Oh, really? According to the... Oh, like, there you go. Really? That's weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, here we are again. Ready to rant about random bullshit, as we always do.
I wouldn't
How
say
you doing
raring
anyway?
to go this week. I think I join you in being pretty damn tired and ready for bed already.
Yeah. As soon as I should have been broadcasting this from bed. I could have done that, basically. I don't need anything other than the screen is only there for me to reference stuff. But like effectively, I don't really need just reading the thing that's Mr. Stone has posted. Now, I could be without needing that. I could be doing this from bed. Hey, maybe I should go there now and just get into bed.
Just pick up and go.
So fucking tired. Like, I think next time maybe a podcast from bed would be amazing. But anyway, yes, we're both quite tired, mainly because we were up with Captain Brilliant last night, chatting and drinking, responsibly distanced. Excuse me, the most responsibly distanced of all of us, by about 250 miles or whatever. But yeah, pretty tired because
it was a late one. Yeah,
it was a late one. In the morning, like I was sitting there really tired this morning, and Isabeau's father came round to fix the sink, and he was like, "You right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm trying to be cool about it. I'm like, yeah, ain't no thing. Yeah, it's just really tired. And he was like, "Okay, was it late night?" And I'm like, I was thinking, yeah, it's like 1. And she was like, "You didn't get to bed until 4." And I was like, shit. And then the fact that I didn't know, she did know, then just was like, oh no, I don't want to admit that I didn't know. I'm like, yeah, that was the time. Thinking, was it? Who knows? If I say I don't know, then it's bad. And if I say it's that, then it's also bad. And she said, he was on the sofa. I found him on the sofa. And that suggests to her father I'm some dirty stop out. And I'm like, I was watching Black Panther and I fell asleep because it was shit. That was all it was. So
there's a controversial statement to kick us off. Black Panther is shit.
Did you like that?
I've not watched it, so I'm just going to take your
Don't
word
bother,
as
mate.
gospel.
I fell asleep. And it wasn't that I was drunk. It was bad. Didn't make any sense to me. It's not, as I say, it's not me. It's not me. It wasn't my inebriation. It wasn't my tiredness. It wasn't late at night. It shouldn't be watched at another time. I'm just blaming the show. I can blame other things that did. Heat, the film Heat, blame Heat. The film Halloween, both bad films that I fell asleep in.
Fair enough.
Strangely, didn't fall asleep in Sleepless in Seattle. Went through that all the way. That was fine. Anyway. Enough.
So we promised to kick off this show with a big announcement, and instead we've kicked off this show with a description of how fucking tired we are. So maybe we should get to the announcement.
Get to the money. Get to the money. Yes, the $2 million. All right, so yeah, go for it.
So first of all, by virtue of the fact that you are fucking off to France on holiday for a couple of weeks, we'll be
next week
going on hiatus on this show for a few weeks.
Yes, sorry guys.
But in addition to that, we've been talking through this show, this podcast, and we've been talking it through with our listeners and just people in general who are willing to listen to us, which is a short list.
Anyone.
And when we do return back, we have discussed that the format of this show will mostly remain the same, but the name will be changing. We will no longer be called Covidio Killed the Radio
Covidio
Star.
Killed the Radio Star. Because we couldn't get the rights. No, that wasn't the reason. the Buggles hate us. That's the reason. No, I mean, the reason we wanted to change it was because largely it was a thing that was generated out of the early stages of lockdown. And whilst we haven't left that, despite this feeling that everything's over when it isn't, it certainly has diminished its role in such as an inspiration for the podcast. And as it so diminishes, it kind of like, this show will eventually become something which is like, I don't know what I tried to think of what this would be called if it was like, if we did a podcast and it was all about, I don't know, the Russia World Cup, and it was called Russia World Cup, and they were like, it's only got a certain amount of shelf life, guys. So we had to future-proof it, knowing that eventually COVID will be a thing of the past, like Boris Johnson as Prime Minister.
And more so than that, I think in general, people are just sick of COVID and
COVID.
Just the mention of it. So I don't think it's doing us any favors as, you know, a platform that we are trying to grow and bring to as many people as possible, for them to see the first word in the podcast going, oh, fucking COVID. No.
Fucking COVID. So yeah, we're going to change the name. Hey, that's like a Bon Jovi. Only the name has changed. What is that? Wanted, Dead or Alive? I'm pretty sure it is. Don't correct me. I think it's that. So yeah, are you going to say what the name is going to change to?
I will. I'll line you up and you can knock it down.
Go on then.
Eddie will answer that question for you in just a moment.
Yeah, that's a good question.
So we always planned to do a podcast. That was always a thing. And
yes,
I think we've mentioned previously that COVID actually got in the way of us getting started originally, and then we just kind of rolled with it and did what we could. And we didn't have a name then. And so Covidio Killed the Radio Star just kind of happened as a result of, no, we just need to get started. But now, over the last few weeks that we've been doing this, and we've kind of developed what this podcast is actually about, we've realized pretty quickly that it's mostly just us ranting about shit that some people like and some people don't.
Yeah.
And our favorite segment of this show, I think, has got a lot of legs to it, and so we're going to expand upon what we've been enjoying and what we like. And so, with a drum roll you might not be able to hear because I've got a directional microphone,
because you don't own a drum.
And I don't own a drum. The name of this podcast, as of our return after the hiatus, will be
Alex's Cool Show. No, sorry, it's not called that. Alex is so cool. We named a show after him.
6 viewers just dropped.
No, sorry. The name of the show going forward, based on the segment we love, the whole show is just going to be called "Don't Get Me Started," and that's it. And we realised that it typified everything. Even when we weren't doing the segment "Don't Get Me Started," we were getting started. Even when we want to get started about Star Trek, we would "Don't Get in Star Trek." Everything rants about everything, you know. I didn't even need to go very far before I started ranting about Black Panther. So yeah, the show will change when we come back August the 5th, the day before my birthday.
Yes, and that's the other change is when we return as Don't Get Me Started, it will be a new regular day. So we're moving from Sundays to Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So August the 5th will be our triumphant return.
Yeah. Yes, it will. And, you know, that's good because it means that, I mean, midweek's good, isn't it? You know, I went into a bit of a strange southern drawl then. I don't know why. I mean...
Boy, I like that midweek shit.
I like that midweek. All right. I love that midweek. But also it means we can watch the NFL on a Sunday. It's purposefully selfish on our part. And for you, now you can watch the best sport in the world with no rival anytime you want.
So Eddie Stone asked us, will we still have Covidiot of the Week? And the answer is loosely yes, but
is it? I thought the answer was
won't
no.
Be. I mean, it won't be Covidiot of the Week.
No.
No, sorry. The answer is Alex will permanently be the Covidiot of the Week. for not remembering conversations that we have.
Did we discuss? I don't remember. Did we?
We did.
There was so much said in the production meeting.
We'll probably shift the name of it in the same way, and it'll be like Dick of the Day.
Yeah.
Wanker of Wednesday night. I don't know. We'll work on the name, but it
we'll
will
find
be
a way to kind of.
We'll find some people to hate on, and
The
there are
segment will
plenty
be
of them
just
out
like,
there.
"Did you see that dickhead? Lol," or something like that. But but something smoother. Yeah, that's it. But also, I liked how you were going to say yes and I was going to say no. Like, that bit in films where people say, one person says yes and the other person says no, and they say it. I love that. And then they try and reverse it and they both say the opposite thing. That never happens in real life, and I really wish it did. Like,
there's this segment on Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live where there's this like married couple who are singer-songwriters, but they come on to do their brand new song, but they are making it up on the fly because they haven't actually put their new song together. And so they kind of like look at each other, look into each other's eyes, and are trying to do the same lyrics to the song, and it never works. But that's the hilarious part of it.
I just think there's certain things. I can't remember who I was reading. Some famous, I think it might be Mel Brooks or something like that, was talking about his favorite things, like watching films and hoping his favorite cliches would come up. And I can't think of a single cliche in my head now. They've all like flown away from my head. But like watching a film and just waiting for like these.
Hey, if you can't think of any cliches, you need to think outside the box.
Things that people will always say in films, especially bad films. But anyway, yes, I do like it. But one of my favorites is when two people go, yes, no, yes. And it never happens. If I say no and you say yes, I mean anyone that's my friend. If we're in a situation like we go to the restaurant and says, "Have you got a booking?" and I go yes, and you say no, you better be ready. You better be ready to say the other thing immediately because I'm doing it. And if I say to you, if I say to anyone like, we always finish each other's, you better be ready to say one of two things.
Sandwiches.
I just like want these phrases in my life, so much. I did it with my I did it with my niece with that one because I said we get on so well though. I said we get on so well. We always finish each other's sentences, and she said we don't finish each other's, and I went sentences like that, and it just when she was like, oh, I was like, oh, thank you very much. Anyway,
shall we move on to our first segment of the show?
Please. What is up? Oh, my computer's gone off. But yes, first segment of the day.
So, in honor of the end of this name, we're going to have a look back at our favorite covidiots of the week, of which there have been plenty to discuss.
Many.
I'm just going to check out what Eddie Stone has said quickly before we move on. Cliche. Someone is about to admit something, and the other person says, "First, let me just say something." That derails the whole confession.
Yeah. I absolutely love that. When there's listen, I've got to tell you something, and then they're like, they say something else, and then they can't do it anymore. Oh my god. Oh god. Do you know that happened in Snowpiercer this week? I think.
Why are you still watching that show?
Oh, it's amazing. It's got really good. Like, I mean, it has always been good because it's got David Diggs in it, but like, it wasn't good at the beginning. You remember Train Talk? There's been no more Train Talk. It's almost like they fired that. They dropped that guy out of the back of the train. They're just like, there's been some Train Talk. Yeah, the writers were shit, so we got rid of them. There's no more Train Talk. But one person's like the main person on the train who's holding the whole thing together and doing some bad shit just to hold the whole thing together. She's like losing her shit. Yes, indeed. And
some train knowledge.
Some train knowledge. And then her friend comes up and she's been asked to be part of a coup to overthrow this woman. But she's rushing to bring this knowledge to say, hey, Jennifer Connelly, there's a fucking coup against you, but I will never be part of that coup because I love you. And like, she goes, I've got some important news. And she would, can I just wait? Can I just wait for 1 second? You can't trouble me with something. And then this woman goes, yes. Yeah, and she just goes, okay, I'll tell you later. And then she goes, I'm going to join a coup. She doesn't say that, but like then she immediately joins the coup, and I'm like, I know that's why you wrote it. Like, that's the reason she gets convinced to turn on you. But it all like, you've been friends for like 20 years, and now you're like, this one kind of bad day fucks everyone's lives forever. Anyway, so yeah, that's one of those conversations. Just okay. But anyway, yes. Sorry.
So, favorite covidiots of the week. I'm just going to bring up
who's your favorite covidiot?
The page with the pictures. So it's probably no surprise. It might be a surprise. There have been so many idiots, and they've all been utter twats. But my favorite
gems
covidiot of the week is Mr. I Am Not Man.
I forgot about this guy. I love this guy. I'm looking at it now to see if it comes out. Probably I'm a little bit of a lag, but like I am not man.
I am a free. I am not man. A number.
I am a free. I am a free man. I am not a number. I don't even know why, even now, he wanted to quote that. Like, he's not a number.
Because he thinks he's edgy and he thinks he's cool. I mean, look at his face. He's got a proper pout on. He's got his Boris Johnson hair sorted.
Oh, he does. I am a free. I am not man. A number. Oh, that guy. I love it. He's just like, why did you think? Well, right, you've got to read it. Oh my god, it's like he started it. Oh, I can't. I love it. Also, as I said before, it's the quote from The Prisoner, which is such a beloved TV program. Very big cult following of that. So it's such an iconic phrase. And
but I've made it even better. I've made this even better in the time since this was the covidiot of the week. Are you familiar with the angry white lady shouting at the white cat meme?
I think if I see it, I would, but I don't know if I'm that familiar.
Well, I'm throwing it up, so I'll wait for it to come through to the stream that you have up.
Yeah.
Because this is just a perfect example of all of these cat memes.
Oh, yeah.
I just love the look on that cat's face so much.
I am a free, not man, a number. I am a free man, not a number. I'm a free man, not a number. Oh, my God.
Fuck you, Karen. I am a free.
I am a free, not man, a number. Oh, I love it. It is brilliant. I wish I thought about that in my nomination for biggest prick of the lockdown or whatever we call this show.
Rather than covidiot of the week, I guess I Am Not Man is my covidiot of, I don't know, all time. My all-time covidiot.
Wow, I'm not man.
That's a pretty hefty trophy to carry around.
It is.
But he's used to carrying placards that are poorly written, so he's used to it.
Carrying that. You make sure that trophy isn't spelt right, though. You know, make sure it's written incorrectly.
So who's your covidiot of all time?
Hey, listen, despite my absolute hatred of, I think it's the guy who runs Wetherspoons, Tim Martin. I think that's his name. Oh, what a horrific little troll he is. But it's very easy to have some big targets, some big ticket targets here. Like Trump is obviously a great one. I just wanted to get, to sort of real grassroots dickheadery, homegrown, Jeremy. Mm-hmm. Like none of this stuff that it's easy to hit up Trump. The one that I love, mainly because they're unaware that they're dickheads. That's the best kind of dickhead. Is the woman and her family on the beach complaining about people going to the beach. That is perfect. It's so beautiful. It's like absolutely quintessential British dickheadery.
Yes.
Entitled on every level and unaware. It's perfect. It's like, I mean, what are all these dickheads doing on the beach? You wouldn't catch. And they're going to have a second wave. They're obviously going to have a second wave. She says, like,
because people can't stay away from the beach.
People keep going to the beach. And what I would love more is if underneath it says the name of the person, then just says at the beach. That would have been. I know that it looks like the beach. It would have been at the beach. She's like, I want her to go back to her friends at home. So did you see me? And they're like, yeah, we did see you. And it's like, so you know what I mean? It's like, we understood the words you were saying. I don't think really your point of view was communicated very well because you were at the fucking beach. So that's my favorite. Yeah, and there she is. Sorry, oh my God, look at her face. She just doesn't. There's nothing. I mean, I feel bad for the daughter, but the daughter was also complicit.
She was also kind of penis as well. Yeah.
Yeah, she was saying something like, "There's going to be a second spike," but I don't know whether she's then cut off by saying. But it's not helped by the fact that we're all at the beach. She could have redeemed herself. I don't think she does. Oh my God, it's on there forever, for all time, Jeremy. Like these people are going to make these big statements. I pray, there, but for the grace of God, I never ever make a stupid fucking statement like that on TV. So everyone can always go, "Do you remember that dickhead? He said that thing." But thankfully, yes. So she's my favourite covidiot.
Biggest covidiot of all time.
Just going to open the window in here, let a little bit of air in. My ranty
slick bit of production.
Yeah, I know. Well, I suddenly realised it was really hot. There's hot air coming out of my mouth, Jeremy, into this stifling attic room that I'm in.
Well, I'll tell you what. While you're faffing around, I'm going to go ahead and play the sting for our next segment. This is happening.
Yes.
In a world filled with haps and naps, two men have risen above to bring you This Is Happening.
Okay, so what is on your mind this week?
Right, so, what's that? What we're talking about, right? Hey, listen, what's on my mind? I tell you what, the happiest thing that happened today was, and I told her I've mentioned her on this one, but for some reason, my girlfriend started doing impressions of animals. Like, I don't know why, but she just like, and this is only for, of course, I mean, like, you know, when people say it's a personal opinion, you're like, yeah, I know it's a personal opinion because you're fucking saying it. So this is only personal for me, no kidding. But like, suddenly her impressions of animals were so accurate and funny that I just couldn't stop laughing. And every time she does it now, I was feeling really tired, really fucked off earlier. And then she did an impression of a crow. And I was just like, no, everything's fine again. I would like to recreate them, but I can't do it. Like her crow's like, I can't do it. I don't even know how to explain how funny I found. But I was like, and then I was like, it sounded like the crow was slightly curious. And she was like, like that. So it was all kind of, she can do a crow doing various different emotions. And I just kept getting her to do the crow in various different things until she like, because the thing that she said was, I keep saying that she should reverse park, right? And this has come up before. And she keeps saying, I don't want to. And every time I suggest something, I say, look, you're such a blocktopus. And she doesn't like that at all. And I'm like, just interested. And so then today she did an impression of a blocktopus, which is like an octopus. And then she kind of makes this look on her face like, and I can't do it. But by being a by performing the blocktopus and improvising the blocktopus, she stopped being the blocktopus. Do you know what I mean?
She transcended the blocktopus.
Yes, because she accepted the situation she was in. I said, and now what would the blocktopus do? And she's like, well, it'll probably do this. And I'm like, oh, well, now you're improvising, so you can't be the blocktopus anymore. And she reversed parts the other day, really happily. And I said, now, imagine if you reverse Bay Park. And she's like, no, I still don't want to do that. So not quite there yet. But my happiest thing today was her impression of the blocktopus, a crow, and also a whale. She does a whale. The whale only has one sound, permanently in a state of depression, but it's good. Yeah, that's it. You can do it too. This is amazing. That's almost exactly the same. Unbelievable.
It's almost like whales. You guys all sound the same or something. It's an incredibly whalist thing to say, but
I know. And you used to live in Wales, but so you know,
and they do all sound the same.
So there you go.
Shooting water out their heads. Damn Welsh people.
Pricks. Welsh pricks. When they get really angry. Yeah. So what things has happened to you? What's the happy haps?
So this week, as you well know, because you were kind enough to join me on them. I've started streaming video games on wherever you're watching this. The video games were there as well.
Yes.
Matt Ward's jumped in with dissing Wales and put the Welsh flag there. So I'm not sure if he's happy or disgruntled with the dissing of Wales, but he's put a flag there.
Dissing Wales, man.
Just a statement.
Well, we'll find
Dissing
out.
Wales.
Make it another comment. If you just like, fuck Wales, man, you're absolutely right. Or sharp, Alex, you dickhead. Then we'll know where he stands, won't we? Look forward to it.
So I've been
sorry.
streaming video games. So far, I have played Command and Conquer, a classic PC game, and the one that you joined in on and was more. How dare you! Again, we're not being very specific here.
You're not helping. I don't know where. I'm not for it. I'm against it. Carry on. Sorry.
SmackDown 2 was the other game that I streamed.
Yes, it was.
And let me say that while the streaming of it was hap, and I really enjoyed people coming in and commenting and telling me to lose and all that kind of stuff, SmackDown 2 does not hold up to my nostalgia of it at all. I was like, I'm going to play this game. I remember the story mode is amazing. It's going to be great. And then I'm playing it and it's like, cutscene. Taz has entered the building. Loading screen.
I mean,
and it's
in fairness,
2-second clip. Taz has been punched in the face. Loading screen.
Is that the bit? Do they do it? Is that the one where they do the shaky cam running towards and like the person's lying on the ground, like just before their match? Jeff Hardy's amongst some chairs. It's like
Jeff Hardy has been attacked.
Yeah,
And then not only that, you have to get through all of the matches that you are not involved in by skipping them and watching this rainbow like indicator battling against it, and it's got the same formula every time. One side goes like rapidly down to a minuscule amount left, and then the other one just gradually goes do, and then they lose. It's
like,
always the same.
By the way, there has to be a manner in which you can formulate something without looking at it. And when I used to play like Football Manager in my Spectrum, it's like, would you like to watch the little stick figures running around for the games you're not involved in? Would you like us to summarize it? I'm like, what kind of wanker sits through kind of like every single one of what was then like the League One football matches that you're not involved in? Blip, 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 blip. And I'm like, who has time for that?
Totally
shit?
reminded me of something that I just thought I forgot. Yes, Matt, you missed the announcement. You're going to have to watch the replay.
Yeah.
When I was, it's got to be fairly young, like 7 or 8, I used to play FIFA World Cup.
Or Road to the World Cup or something like that. Okay,
90, something around that kind of period on the Sega Master System.
Sega.
But I used to run the feed through my VCR, record my games, and then play them back for people like later.
Man,
so I was
amazing.
Like streaming before streaming was streaming.
Mate, you're a legend.
And I
wish you had those.
Completely forgot that until that very moment. And now I'm going to have to find that game and stream it just to throw it out there.
I want to see a live stream of you live streaming. Yo, dog. By the way, have you ever seen the film King of Kong about this guy who's trying to win to have the highest score in Donkey Kong?
I have not. No, I've heard of it.
You got to watch it then. But like, I don't now want to spoil the bit that I was about to tell you about, which is about recording like yourself playing, as it were, because it kind of gives some stuff away. So I won't. But what I will say is that fucking film is brilliant, and all the people. There's basically one guy who's the king of Donkey Kong. And the plucky young kind of new upstart trying to beat him, and the guy who's the current reigning champion is obviously a dickhead, and the guy who is trying to win is obviously a lovely guy. And I don't think there's any amount of editing and clever footage can change that fact. All the guys who are supporting the current champion are also always dickheads. And you've got to watch The King of Kong if you can get it.
I'll do my homework. I'll watch it by the time we're back on August the 5th.
See what you think of it.
Watch this thing. The first
mean,
FIFA World Cup game was 1998. Maybe it wasn't that then. Maybe it was a different soccer game.
I mean,
I don't know.
I should say,
I'm not the biggest fan, if I'm quite honest. It was definitely a soccer game. It was on the
Yeah.
Master System, which
well,
was
I
long
mean,
done for in 1998. So
I mean, there was Road to the World Cup '98, and there was FIFA '98, I think, because I remember playing Road to the World Cup. But FIFA International Football, the game, could be. I played that on the Mega Drive. It was slightly kind of. No way, it wasn't. Everyone's fucking getting involved now. I love it. Blowing up the feed. Yeah, it was.
Please fight it out in the comments.
Kind of like, yeah, it was. Oh, it was a strange. I remember playing it on the Mega Drive with my mates, and we played a World Cup setting. You can play whatever you wanted, and it was really kind of heavy physics to the ball, just poof, poof, real kind of like. But when you scored, you could press A, B, or C to do an array of kind of like. It's such a satisfying thing to score in that. What a game! There are other FIFA games. Yeah, there were. Yeah, there were FIFA games for that. Absolutely. There we are. Now we've got off Star Trek and onto FIFA games. But yeah, but to go back to get us on track a little bit. So you streamed yourself playing this thing, and yeah, you had to simulate all the games that you're not involved. But presumably, I think I understand you could watch those matches as well if you wanted to. If you're a fucking.
I could have even fought in those matches, but that just would have taken so long.
But as it was, you skipped to the end. Something I should have done. Yes,
I did. Yeah.
It was. I love watching it. I really like.
So I even then like fought my way back to.
Oh, I think I
was
see
talking
where
video
we're going
games,
with
Matthew. I think that's
Matt, he's talking about video games.
Yeah, the first.
He's not
FIFA
talking about the real World Cup.
Yeah.
We're talking about. He's talking about basically the stuff that we're talking about, right? He didn't just randomly come in and go, World Cup didn't exist before the 90s.
Random guy just derped in and said, football wasn't a sport until 2007. Just wasn't.
Barely a sport now.
Someone else rock in with a random controversial statement that we can argue about in the comments, because that's good banter.
Please. Sorry, yeah. Okay, let's talk about naps while they're talking about this. Let's talk about that. We move. Unless you want to say any more about your hat, which I was enjoying.
I don't really. Just that I'm going to be very particular about the games I choose in future. Make sure that they're entertaining first.
I don't know about that, man. I think you just have to go with it, because so much comedy comes out of watching. And by the way, the thing is, I'm not a big Undertaker fan. Jez played the Undertaker, and I think the Undertaker's all right. But when the Undertaker lost his shtick after Attitude Era, or like as Attitude Era was, I suppose actually, yeah, during the Attitude Era, he just became the Undertaker, like American Badass, and I just thought that was a bit like Mark. Is it Mark Callahan? I can't remember the guy's name. Mark
Calloway.
Calloway, yes. Mark Calloway just turned up and like hadn't been bothered to get ready to be a wrestler. It's like, is this what you're going out in, Mark? It's like, yeah, I just thought just like what I wore. Do you want to just drive your bike straight into the ring, Mark? It's like, hey, that's a good idea. I could drive straight here and bypass the locker room entirely. I could have
that's not what I meant.
That's what I thought it was like.
Vince, have you seen the price of eyeliner these days? I'm not doing that anymore. I've already got a bike. I don't have eyeliner. Do the math.
Just let me drive straight into the ring. Hey, I'm the guy. I'm the biggest guy. I'm the head of the locker room. You'll let me do what I want. Sure, man. Just drive straight in, have a fight, drive off. And we'll just do it like that. But like up against someone like Jericho, I fucking love Jericho. What a guy. Can't help myself. Anyway, 94 was international. Yeah, I think I said that.
You did.
Video games. I think FIFA International Football, like Alex said. Okay, yeah, video games. Right. Nap. What's nap? Jeremy, what's nap for you?
I'm not 100% sure that this is nap, but I'm going on the trailer that has dropped today. I think, unfortunately, the new Star Trek Lower Decks animated series might be nap.
Right, now I caught a bit of that. Didn't keep watching it because I didn't really want to, but I worry about it as well, if I'm honest. What are your worries about it?
It just seems very forced as an animated comedy, in the same vein as your Family Guys and Bob's Burgers and Rick and
Oh
Morty's,
yeah, it does
that
look
kind
like
of
that. Yeah.
thing. And it didn't seem to have that many of the kind of Star Trek hallmarks outside of it's on a ship and they have Starfleet uniforms and ranks
Yeah.
and stuff. But they weren't acting particularly Starfleety, for lack of a better term, in the trailer at least. And it just seems like they're trying too hard to be something that Star Trek is not.
I would
Just
say that
going
what it
by
looks
what the
like,
trailer has.
there's a lot of comedy cartoons, a lot of animated comedy out there at the moment, like you say. And it may be someone went, hey, Star Trek's popular. You know what else is popular? Cartoons. How about we put those two things together? And someone said, I like it. Get that done. Green light it. Can't miss. And I think that's what happened. Lower Decks is the name, which is the name of a Next Generation episode where they follow 4 kind of new recruity kind of guys around the place, and one of them dies, I think. I'm not a big fan of that episode. Could be wrong.
See, I quite like the episode. It's a very good episode. And if that's what I expected kind of Lower Decks to be, it was more the stuff that happens on a starship is an aside, it's happening in the background. You know, there's the red alert alarm goes off and they're like, what the fuck is happening now? And they're just going about their daily lives. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like there's going to be too much focus on these characters that don't seem very likable.
I guess we'll have to watch it, and you know,
I'm willing to give
it
a chance. Yes,
we'll
I will
all watch it. We will watch it.
Not that there is a UK home for it yet. It has not been distributed here as of yet. So
that hasn't stopped us in the past.
No,
we watch everything. We'll find it. Don't tell us we won't find it. We'll find it and we'll watch it. Matt. Matt says a great series I've discovered recently is Lucifer. Is it good? Is it good? Because I haven't
seen it, but it has recently been retconned into the Arrowverse that we discussed last week. So
yeah, I'm
now willing to give it a chance.
About that. Well, what's interesting is that someone came around to my house one time and said, "Hey, let's watch something. Lucifer's really good. Let's watch an episode." And I was not impressed, but the part of that was soured by the fact that I was willing myself to not like it because I thought it sounded shit.
That this random person just walked in and said, "We're going to watch TV. We're going to watch this thing I want to watch."
It was a postman. My postman came in. I went, "Shouldn't you be doing something?" He's like, "Let's just watch this." I'm all right, fine. I've got to go to work. But instead, why were you 45 minutes late to work?
Shouldn't I be signing for this parcel? No. You watch Lucifer, then I give you the parcel. This is the way it works.
The parcel is season 1 of Lucifer.
2020, mate. Roll with it.
That fucking devil. There's finger in every fucking pie. I have an issue
and parcel.
Generally. And parcel. Fuck you. Anyway, I have an issue with, in general, cosmological based dramas where normally it's angels versus demons and stuff like that. So like Good Omens, I thought that's gonna be shit. It's like, he's an angel, he's a demon. They both got to work. Oh, shut up, click. I know we watched that first episode of Good Omens, but there's honestly anything that does that thing is just bullshit. So when it's like, I like it if they're a little bit more subtle, right? So I don't like that. And when I like it when it's a little bit subtle. And then a show comes on called Lucifer. I'm like, oh, stop. It's like, Lucifer's the devil. I'm like, yes, I know that. He says, but he's come to our world. That is how long it takes. That is honestly how long it takes. I don't know how anyone can last any longer than that. He's also a detective. I don't know if he's a detective. So, like, fuck Lucifer. Sorry, Matt. Love you.
What else is nap for you then?
I'll tell you what's nap, other than fucking Lucifer. Everything's been great. We went to the cinema on Friday and had some food and done lots of cool things. It's very hard to find something when you're having a wonderful time. But we went to this place in Ghent, which is a bar on a boat. Really nice. And by the way, I thought about you. I thought you'd love it if you ever came over. It's really cool in there.
Mainly because I would just stand there going, "I'm on a boat, man."
I said that as soon as I got on there. I'm on a boat, motherfucker. And which I say every time we get on a boat. And I don't know if Isvo likes it. That was probably what pissed this guy off. Like me stepping on and like T-paining it around the place, Andy Samberg in it around the place. we went on it. It's the upstairs is quite nice. I wanted to go upstairs because it's quite a hot night, but there was no space, socially distant space. Downstairs, it's kind of nice, like dark woods, dingy atmosphere. I like a dingy atmosphere.
On the lower decks.
Lots of crazy crap on the lower decks indeed. Lots of crazy crap on the walls, neon signs, bullshit everywhere. Loved it, really nice place. And the guy came over to take our second round of drinks orders. So Ispo did the first one, I did the second one, and I ordered stuff. And I was saying, "Oh, what's this wine? Is that?" And he said, and he was talking to me, and I can't remember how I started, but I was just kind of like, "Hey," I was being really, really friendly and really nice, and he just wasn't having any of it. He wasn't having any of the friendly, because I do this all the time with people everywhere, where they're serving me or I'm meeting them. I'm always like really kind of like nice and happy with them. And I was like, "Hey man, here's our guy," because like the waiter comes up and he's like, I went, "Anyway, so yeah, good to see you again, right? Hey, that wine was good last time. Then we can go one better. Let's drop another 30 cents on that." And he's like, and I know that he was being, I didn't know if his implacable nature was because he was behind a mask, but he just wasn't doing anything. And then I took out the 20, I said, "Hey, do you want cash or want card?" And then loads of them want card because they don't want to have to take physical money off. They want it to be contactless everywhere. Not this motherfucker. He's like, "Cash." And I was like, "Okay, well, you can have one of my, you can have 20 euros because I happen to have 20 euros. And I took the 20 euros out of my wallet and I detected there were two there. Like they were really tightly next to each other. I went, "Oh, whoa, what's this? I've managed to make it into 40 euros like that." Like in what can only be described as the shittest magic trick ever. And he was like, I was like, "Yes, so I'll just give you that then." He's like, "You got the 60 cents. And I'm like, "I don't know," as it happens. Sorry about, and I'm just like, and it's just like the whole thing. It's just like, so what it is for me is things that people who are too cool to banter with the customers. That's what's nap. I can't stand it. That's what's nap. It
sounds like every bouncer outside every like pub or club ever. Like, "Hey man, how's your night going? Kicked out any pricks yet?" And they're just like, "Just go inside."
And you're like, "Okay."
Got your ID. Like, "Mate, I'm clearly 67. Fuck off."
Yeah.
Don't need you.
I wish I did get ID. There's a guy who doesn't like me who's one of the bouncers at Chambers, but he always wants to have a conversation with me, and I don't like him. So like that's the opposite. He's like, "Oh, Alex, I haven't seen you for a while." And I'm like, "Oh my God, you're a prick." But that's mainly because he doesn't like me. So he keeps trying to one-up me. I think I told you this, but like opposite that bar, there's a board gaming, card gaming shop. And I go in there to play card games, Magic the Gathering, playing geeky card games. And he went, "Oh, did I see you going into that geeky card game shop the other day?" And I like thinking that I was like, "Oh, I see what you're doing, but you think I'm going to fall for it or give a fuck," but I don't. And I was like, "Yeah, you saw me go in there." And he was like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, you saw me go in there because there was a tournament that night I had to attend. Came fifth, thanks for asking." And he was like, I said, "Yeah, it's great. I mean, board game stuff, if that's your thing, man. Anyway, I'm going in to call some girl and piss you off again. See ya." It was a basement bar. I was falling down the stairs. So, yeah, I hate bouncers, especially that guy. Anyway, so that's what's happened. That's what's nap, right?
Yeah.
Have you done it? Yes, we've done both of them. Yes, we have. Sorry, just professional as ever.
Matt's thrown in another question. I take it that Alex doesn't like Angels and Demons by Dan Brown.
No, fuck that shit. Angels and Demons. By the way, I have to say, Matt, I was a bit of I did phrase it in that way in the hopes that would entice you into that. So back of the net, frankly. I never read it, but like my dad hates Dan Brown. I've never met the guy, but he has such a like anti-Catholic kind of like, I can't remember the order in it that goes into, basically represents parts of the Catholic Church in a bad light. And because my dad's like very Catholic, he didn't like that shit. So he was like, "You shouldn't be reading this sort of stuff." And at the time, I was like, "Yeah, whatever, I won't read whatever this is." And I never bothered to read it anyway because it sounded like tat. So I never read the Da Vinci Code. As a result, I've never seen Angels and Demons. However, I suspect there are no angels or demons in that film. And I think they're metaphorical angels and demons, which are all right by me. But
I couldn't
I'm never going
tell
to
you,
watch.
I'm afraid.
I've never seen the film. If there aren't angels and demons in it, real ones, I'll watch
Sign
it.
you up.
Yeah, I don't like it. Don't like them. Don't like it, man. Where are we now? Oh, I know where we are. Right, cool.
Shall we
segment we like? Yes.
close out
You play it.
with this this segment that, as we announced earlier, will be the complete name of this podcast going forward, and close out with my favorite segment and
Yes.
yours.
Yes.
Don't get me started. Here comes the sting.
Ah!
Don't get me started.
Don't get me started. Oh, shut your mouth.
So, would you
'Cause I can't
like...
hear it, so I'm like, yeah, this is enjoyable.
This is a sting in silence.
That's the theme from the film The Sting, by the way. It's a very clever joke there. What would you... Yes, sorry, what were you going to say? Was I like to go first or second? Is that what you...
Yeah, would you like to get started first? I was just going to jump in there and say, would you like to go on a rant immediately?
Yes, please.
You seem like you need to get some things off your chest.
I always do.
And so I would like to know what you feel deep down about video games.
Video games? Oh my God. Don't get me started on video games. Video games are the biggest waste of time ever. Do you know what? From the moment I had the opportunity to get a video game when I had a Spectrum 128K plus 2, for a start, the old ones took forever to load, and then they never ever worked. They always broke, R-type loading error. So that was all bullshit. My entire of my teenage, young years, my childhood years, beset with video games. Absolute waste of time. Do you know what? There's a video game called Narc, and you are a SWAT team guy going around shooting a gun with anti-drug bullets in it, hypodermic needles, shooting bad guys who have got drugs in them, right? You shoot the cure into them, and in the end, you fight. It takes forever. It takes it took me ages. You can't switch off. You can't save it. You have to keep playing it. It took me hours to complete this game. I had to leave it on. And when I finally got back to it, the guy that's the boss at the end is a massive head in a chair. And you finally shoot enough fucking shit into him, he turns into a massive skull in a chair. When you finally kill him, it says, "Well done, you have completed Narc." That is it. That's your reward for playing that game forever. All those things are a complete waste of time. And even now, I just think today's games, although they load quicker, they just get you to the bullshit even faster. Do you know what? What the greatest trick the devil ever pulled here is that you tend to find yourself in a situation where something will annoy you about a game and you'll switch it off, and then it never draws you back in again. So these things you buy just sit there gathering fucking dust. And if you're the kind of person that has a girlfriend or a wife, I mean, I can only speak from my point, you may as well just say partner, the other person doesn't understand it, so you never get to play them anyway. When I used to play Fallout New Vegas, my girlfriend at the time was like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? So I never got any opportunity. She's like, you're going to play for half an hour? Half an hour? These things take hours to play. Oh my God, don't get me started on video games. Well, it's a waste of everyone's time. And even when you want to play it, you can't. It's terrible. Yeah, fuck them.
Nice.
That said, I know I was going to say, I still enjoyed your video game playing. That was enjoyable.
Despite it having many of the hallmarks of the things that you just described.
Oh, yeah. Endless loading times. Terrible graphics. Oh, waste of time. Have I asked you yet? Because I think I might be repeating it. But I'd like you to tell me what you think of Disney. Have I asked you that?
You have not.
Have I ever asked? Good. Disney's a wonderful thing, isn't it? I mean, you must love it. So tell me what you think about it.
You shouldn't get me started on Disney, because I'm sick of this mouse, dude, right? This mouse is taking over the world. There is nothing that Mickey doesn't own nowadays. He's just running roughshod across the planet, buying up every asset he possibly can, chuckling away, being really happy about the fact that he's taking jobs away from other companies.
Yeah.
And then
mouse.
You get to the actual content of Disney, especially now with things like Disney Plus that you have to then spend more money on. It's like, I've been consuming this shit from your company for the past, well, my entire life. So 30 whatever I am. I can't even remember how old I am. But now you're going to charge me again to see the things I've already seen 60 times. But you're going to edit them to try and make it more 2020. It all started with a mouse. But you're going to edit it to make it more 2020. Like Splash, you're going to edit out the girl's butt, which is the best part of the movie, and just put more like hair and scales over the top of it.
Is Splash a Disney film? I know I'm interrupting your rant, but
it is. It is a Disney film.
Is that Daryl Hannah? Fucking hell.
Yeah, and my favorite person, Tom Hanks, I believe.
What is wrong with you and your hatred of Tom Hanks? I was watching an interview with him the other day on Graham Norton. I'm like, God, this guy is just like America's sweetheart. How do you hate this guy? I don't get it.
Return to that on another day.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, I'm still hating on the mouse. And the worst thing about this mouse now is that he owns ESPN. And so I have to be involved. I'm complicit with the mouse now as I watch my American sports. I just know that I'm in the back of... He's hiding in one of the like corner graphics somewhere. The mouse is lurking, waiting for me to go, oh, I'd be quite interested in that. Ha ha ha, that'll be $100.
See, you can still do all these animal impressions people are doing. fuck that shit.
Don't get me started.
It's a good one. You're right, though. I mean, I never thought about it that way. When I was giving it, I don't know what I'd say about this. You know, obviously Disney's enchanting and beautiful, but you're right. He's in everything now.
He's evil.
Fucking mouse. Yeah, it's not good. It's bad. But that said, I gave money to them so I could watch Hamilton. I watched it again the other day. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm watching whenever I want.
So does that mean that in some way Disney is responsible for Hamilton? I never really thought about why Disney Plus.
Is it responsible for it? In what?
Yeah,
I think
like,
it's only.
Are they the production company behind it?
No, I think that. I mean, I read bits and pieces from Lin-Manuel Miranda about that, and I think he was telling them how they filmed it, and he seemed quite close to the production that led me to believe that this had been made long before it was ever a decision to, because it was filmed over about a period of 3 days, some in front of an audience and some not in front of an audience. They filmed a whole bunch of it in front of the audience, which is why you get some cheers here and there. And then the close-ups are all steady cam stuff that they've done on a day without an audience. So they did it intentionally just to kind of track it at the very beginning, way back when, like 2015, whatever like that. Before Disney Plus was even an idea, I think they just went, we need this as a thing because one of these days it's going somewhere. And then obviously at long last they went, hey, we're being courted by everyone, but we're going over there. So why they made that decision, but I don't believe. It's my understanding, I could be wrong. I don't believe that that Disney ever filmed that or did anything. I think it was independently made and then distributed. I think I would guess that it starts and ends with just distributing that product, that they don't have any further connection to Hamilton or any of its shows. They've just been sold that product.
Fair enough.
I think.
So we're not going to get a director's cut featuring Mickey Mouse then. That's good.
Oh my God. He's not going to suddenly just walk onto screen in that way that he does.
You're not taking away my shot.
You're a bit too good at that for someone that doesn't like that guy.
I don't mind him, really.
I like that.
That's all part of the act of Don't Get Me Started.
Why hasn't it is, yes, you're seeing through the looking glass here now. Why hasn't Mickey been in The Simpsons yet? I mean,
he has.
Well,
not actually him, but they, referenced Mickey Mouse in much the same way as I just did, as an evil overlord, as a slave driver whipping people. That definitely has been in The Simpsons.
What I will say
Simpsons did it.
I mean, indeed, right? I don't think I've watched. Like the other day, because we found Simpsons was on Disney Plus, I was like, let's watch The Simpsons, because every time I make a Simpsons quote, Isabel doesn't get it. So I'm like, right, you need to watch it. So we watched the monorail episode. And she's like, why are we watching the monorail? Why is it about a monorail? And I'm like, look, we're watching the fucking monorail episode. We watched All You Can Eat. I don't know if you've seen this, the All You Can Eat episode where he eats all the fish and he gets chucked out of the fish restaurant. And it's just like, but I stopped watching a couple of years after, well, it got shit, right? So I don't know. I can't even answer a question. Yeah, are they still running it? Mickey Mouse might have been in it 8 times in the last like 3 years, for all I know. I just do not know.
It's owned by the mouse now, so
He's got to be in it. The answer has got to be yes. Yeah. I just don't understand how that show is still going. Is it still going?
It is still going. Yeah, no, they're still making new episodes every year. And it's funny, actually, the conversation that came up in this household this week was how interesting it was that The Simpsons was not in either of our top 10s last week.
Hey, and that's the reason. It came up in my top 37 or whatever I had before we nailed it down. But I can't put it in there because, like, literally, I own on DVD season 4. I'm fine with it. You know, I mean, like, obviously there's like season 3, 4, 5, that sort of sweet spot where it's all fucking amazing. I was watching, I think it's A Streetcar Named Marge, you know, where she's in the musical based on A Streetcar Named Desire. And it's such a great episode again, like trying to hit all these big, Stella! It's like, oh, streetcar, and all that sort of stuff. I was singing it along to myself. I was like, it's such a good New Orleans. It's just such a great show and such a great episode. And he was like, I think the review play enjoyed by all speaks for itself. And just it's a wash with that. But once you get past like the Garbage Man episode, that's a great episode, and the FBI episode, after that it all just fucking drops off for me. So can you say that if they don't stick the landing, you don't get in the top slot? Because if you'd have asked me that 10 years ago, it would have been a slam dunk. But
yeah, I mean, well, that's why The Sopranos didn't make it for me, because they didn't stick the ending. So
it didn't stick the ending. Yeah, I see. Wow, that's harsh, you know, because that final show can make or break it. Like, Game of Thrones didn't make it into our top 10. I mean, I don't know if you even watched it, but I didn't make it. But
decision. Yeah.
I love the story and I read the books, but I don't think that is. How terrible is it that it just won't endure, despite the fact it was like the nation loved it. The world loved Game of Thrones, and then it was almost like I saw so many memes about it. But it's almost like at the end, like this was what it looked like when they didn't have any source material anymore. And it's like, how about Daenerys goes crazy? Yeah, whatever. It's just like, okay, it's like everything. How about Varys never gives up anybody's secrets? How about he does? Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. He never done it before. Somebody in the background's like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. Not based on canon.
The continuity editor.
yeah, exactly.
Hi, continuity here. This would never happen. Fuck you, guy.
He would never say this. Fuck you. Let's get that. Everybody that's doing a thing is suddenly not doing. Oh, what a terrible end to a terrible show. No, it was a good show, but it was terribly ended. But like, oh my god, you talk about not sticking the landing. That show. I went to Edinburgh last year, and on the way on the bus, I was speaking to this woman because Ispo was like, I don't know when we have to get off on the bus. We're following on our Google Maps, and I said, don't worry, we'll just ask someone, and they can tell us when the bus is. When the bus stops, I said to these guys, hey guys, when does it get to this point? And they were like, oh yeah, we'll tell you. And I was like, yeah, problem solved, right? And she doesn't like. That would not cross her mind. And I'm like, talk to anyone. So then I started talking to this woman. I'm like, how's it going? She went, oh, it's good. Have you been watching Game of Thrones? I said, I have. And then this conversation out of nowhere with this old woman who's watching Game of Thrones. And she was like, oh, she just finished it. It just finished. She's like, what happened with the ending? I'm like, I know. And it was unbelievable. It's not unbelievable.
The idea of old people watching Game of Thrones is just so meta, man. Seriously. What world are we living in?
It's just, I didn't expect it to come out of her mouth. I thought I don't know what she'd say, but like she just went, while I've got you here, let's talk about Game of Thrones. And I was just like, it's not a big surprise that I talked to a random person. What was surprising is just how universally panned the end of that fucking series was. But yes, something doesn't stick landing, never gonna, if you want to have a legacy, what is a legacy? And they don't really, I think Simpsons always will have a legacy, and so will Game of Thrones, but probably not the one they want, really.
Not in our top 10s.
Not in our top 10s. No. There's some other oversights as well, like The Wire never made it.
Again,
The Wire, man, what a shit ending. McNulty starts doing some strange shit in that show.
Oh, then he's gone. So what's the point when he's gone?
Yeah. The fuck? Oh, my God. Yeah. And I have to say, another one you noticed wasn't there was Babylon 5, right? Because it just, I love it, but I have to be honest about it.
Because it
As
looks
much
like
as I love it-
SmackDown 2.
Yes, because it looks like SmackDown 2. Oh dear. There's a shuttle coming through the gate. Blip, 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 blip.
Shaky cam. Babylon 5 is under attack. Loading.
Ship has entered Babylon 5. Loading. Yeah, that basically. I mean, what it is there's some wonderful story points that when they first came out, here's the thing, when they first happened, I was like, oh, that's genius. That's really nice. But some nice, beautiful, sublime moments that are personal for you does not a show make. It's a bit like the ending, like our good friend Captain Brilliant will often read, I watched him read an entire comic just like this. He's like reading the whole thing really quickly just to get to the end. And then he would tell me what the end is. And I'm like, but the end has no context for me. The special moment has no context for me. If you just tell me how it ends, I have no support system. So with that in mind, it feels a bit strange. I'm going to say to you that Babylon 5 is really good. What I really mean is, like, there's some excellent fucking moments in it, but you kind of have to watch it. But I never watched the 5th season of Babylon 5 because that was kind of shit. So doesn't stick the landing, sorry. Doesn't stick the landing. That could be a segment. I've no idea how it's going to be made into it, but I think it should be.
I like it. Let's roll with it.
I'll
Let's try and find
work
something
on it.
to do.
Doesn't stick the landing. Things that don't stick the landing.
Speaking of sticking the landing, we are at a close and should endeavour to stick the landing.
Let's do it.
If people want to find you on social media and tell you why Babylon 5 is shit, where can they do that?
If they want to tell me that Babylon 5 is shit and I want to write it down, they can come and find my page, Alex Borton, on Facebook. Or they can tweet it to me, at Alex Borton. See, I've got all the best ones. They're just my name. I guess they could do it on Instagram, Alexander Borton. Had to have the full one there. But, those are the ways to do it. How are they going to tell you that something you like is bad?
In much the same way that the name carries across all social medias. Facebook.com/The Jez Show. On Twitter, I'm at The Jez Show. And then on Instagram, I am at Jez Show. Because some prick stole my username.
Shit. Son of a bitch. Probably that guy that I saw earlier.
One day they will pay.
They will. But not that day won't be today. So just say thanks so much, by the way, everybody who's watched this show in its incarnation. It's beautiful 11-episode incarnation of Covidio Killed the Radio Star. The numbering, will we continue? Is it episode 12, Don't Get Me Started, August the 5th?
Yeah, we'll keep the numbers. I'm not going back to
We'll keep the numbers. No.
I'm not starting again. Don't Get Me Started, formerly known as Covidio Killed the Radio Star. That'll do for the first couple of weeks.
That's good. I like it.
We'll acronym it. It'll be DGMS.
Join us there. You'll get T-shirts printed. You'll love it.
That taper off and just half the letters are missing off to the side.
I want it. I want one. I love it. All right, cool. I'm going to go. I'm going to say goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.